Okay, my name is Bobby Vaught. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you so choose. If you're interested, I'll put a link to lesson 1 of a series that I've done. There's up to 17 lessons now. Everything you need to know to understand investing. Real heavy emphasis on the stock market, what to look for and why and so forth like that. So I'll put a link to lesson 1. It covered a lot of other things as well, but pretty much everything, but heavy emphasis on the stock market. I'll put a link to lesson 1 in the description below. Each lesson has a link to the next one. So lesson 1 has a link to lesson 2, which has a link in the description of lesson 3, and so on and so forth. Make all 17 of them real easy to find. Okay. So today's presentation is not about that, however. It's two different parts of this channel. There's the investing side, which I just mentioned, and then on the other side, I also do a lot of political, social, economics, commentary, that kind of thing, which in fact is today. Just whatever the hottest issues of the day are that everybody's talking about. All right. So that's today. So here's I kind of set this up a little bit. Here's a video that Kulinski did yesterday. He's on the left. I'm not. So we're not going to disagree. We're not going to agree much. Once in a while, maybe, but usually not. But in any event, so Kulinski has this over 2 million subscribers, and like 2.1 million subscribers now, I'm saying, and so that's doing pretty good as far as the subscriptions and so forth. And his YouTube channel is called Secular Talk. So trying to set this up here a little bit, Kyle, in his presentation yesterday, he's showing a video of a guy in a yellow hoodie in Minnesota, an anti-ICE protester, let's call him. And then so Kyle wants his audience to see that video, and this is the part that I'm going to show. I guess there's Kyle's presentation was 17 minutes long. I could hardly comment on every minute of it. So there's several things here I wanted to comment on. I guess there's two different ways I could do this. I don't script these things exactly. Usually I just have a few bullet point notes of stuff I wanted to cover and just start talking. That's the correct way to do things. But in any event, there's two different ways I could do this. I guess I could show you everything that I wanted to comment on and then go back and comment on all of it, or I could stop at each part and comment on each part along the way. Let's do it the first way. I'm going to show you everything from Kulinski's presentation, and then I'll go back and comment on each of those things all in one shot. Okay, let's do it that way. Okay, so I hope I explained that well. This is Kulinski wanted to show this guy to his audience, and that's what I'm showing. Is Kyle's showing the yellow hoodie, Mr. Yellow Hoodie, to his audience. Hope I'm explaining that well. Okay, so anyway. So that's Kulinski here, and here's the guy I was referring to, and let's hear what he has to say here.
I've only been using my voice. The time for speaking is over. The time for niceties is over. The time for peace is over. They fired the first shot. It is time to end this shit by any means necessary.
You're talking about, potentially
by any means necessary. Okay.
Going to a dark place in this country. Do you foresee?
We're there. This is the dark place. This is the dark time. We have people being sent to Salvadorian concentration camps. We got other countries being raided for their oil. We're in the dark time. There's no way out of this. There's no voting our way out of this. We can't wait till November. There's no waiting to the ballot box. We need to get to the bullet box. That's the only way. If there was another
we need to get to the bullet box
way, I'd be advocating for it. I've spoken peacefully. I've marched peacefully. I marched without Sharpton. I marched on Washington. I've been peaceful. I've acted peacefully. The time for peace is over. The time for any means necessary is right now.
Okay, so you got the idea. So I'm going to show my own video later. It wasn't here in Kyle's presentation, but a video later that I'm going to show you where that same guy is outright stating armed resistance against the United States of America. Let's advance up to, where do I want to go here? About right there. And here we go. I'll just show you each part that I wanted to comment on and then we'll go back and comment on the whole thing pretty much in one shot. Let's do it that way. Okay.
Or literally any single thing they could use to justify and rationalize going full authoritarian and invoking.
Kyle Kulinski loves, I've watched his stuff many times. He loves to break out the crystal ball, his tarot cards, I guess, and tell you what's his opposition is going to do. And yeah, you'll see what I'm getting at here.
The Insurrection Act. And look, to be fair, I think they're going to do that no matter what. If there isn't a real excuse, they'll make up an excuse.
And they really don't have to make up an excuse. Okay, so let's advance as we're going to find out here. I mean, they really don't have to make up an excuse because Kyle's giving it to them already. About right here.
Where do we go from here? But the American people, we're at a boiling point. We're at a boiling point.
Yeah, well, that Mr. Yellow Hoodie certainly was. Let's advance up to here. About right here. Yeah, I think that's about right there.
Is justified. And, look, don't say we didn't warn you. Like, consider this your warning. That the way this guy's talking.
Well, thank you for that, Kyle.
A lot of people might be.
I mean, if this is we're supposed to consider this our warning. Okay, well, I guess the excuse to invoke the Insurrection Act is already there then. But in any event, so here we go. Backlash. Yeah. Okay. Let's advance up to right here. We need a backlash, he says. Advance up to here. About right there. He's talking about the ICE training here. ICE agents.
5 or 6 months of training, they reduced it to 47 days. Why did they pick 47 days? Because he's the 47th president. I wish I was kidding. I'm dead serious. So they basically don't have training anymore. They got rid of the sit-up requirement.
I try to be very fair in my outlook on things and comments on things. I hadn't heard that before. To be honest with you, I'll look into it. I'm not going to say he's wrong there on that point, but I don't know if he's right or wrong, and it's something to look into. It's
because their fucking fat ass agents couldn't do it, and here they are. These are white nationalists and Proud Boys and Oath Keepers and 3%ers. These are criminals, as I said. These are racist freaks, and they're looking for trouble. And so basically the reaction...
He's referring to ICE agents.
...from people like this is,
yeah,
you're looking for trouble? Well, okay, I'm going to match your energy. How about that? I'm going to match your energy. And I didn't start it, bitch. You started it. You fired the first shot.
Really? Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. Okay, and just one more thing here, and then I'm going to start making comments. Let's go up to about right here. And I want you to get as much flavor of this as I can... Whew!
Ways of reacting. They're going to meet your violence with violence. So again, consider it your forewarning that this guy, he's not the only one that's saying shit like this. There's a lot of people saying shit like this, and
he's not the guy in the yellow hoodie is not the only one. Yeah, no kidding. Okay, well, we'll keep that in mind. Okay, let's start commenting here because I think you got the kind of full flavor of where he was going there. So I wanted to show you a video, and I wanted to show you a video here. This is the same guy. I gotta go back on Kyle's video, so I'm gonna have to do that. So just show you. Go back to that guy right here. Okay, so this guy right here, I'm turning the camera on again. So this guy, same guy, no question about it. Same voice, same everything, that's him. Okay, all right, so let's back this up, and I want to show you what he says here.
We're done! You're fucking murderers!
Okay.
People need to fucking show up with guns to face you guys. It's fucking time. Armed resistance against the United States of America.
Armed resistance against the United States of America. Huh. Okay. Well, all right. Now I can really start commenting. I'm not going to go deep into the Renee Good incident. People tend to make up their own minds on that. People tend to believe what they merely desire to be true or not true, as the case may be. Anyone, including myself, I always try to be brutally honest with myself. Anyone on either side of any of this whole thing about Renee Good has already made up their own mind on that. I just did a search. Did Renee Good strike anyone with her vehicle? The result I got was inconclusive on that. And I just did that search yesterday, just a few hours ago on January 13, 2026. It seems there's different camera angles, more conclusive information later comes later, fine. And just find the truth. That's it. Here's what we do know, okay? The left is using Renee Good as the political left is using Renee Good like a convenient pawn. Even if the ICE agent acted in error, possibly, that is not a prima facie case that we shouldn't be enforcing immigration law. Why would it be? That would be like saying a surgeon made a mistake, someone died, and therefore we shouldn't have surgeons. I mean, that's obviously really bad logic there. But the political left wants everyone to take their eyes off the larger picture here. That's what they're doing. The larger picture being that of whether we actually should be enforcing immigration law at all. It's something every president in my lifetime, I'm 65, every president in my lifetime has done, including Obama, who also used ICE. ICE was created in 2003, which would have been during Bush 43, and then used by Obama. So what Kyle didn't mention in that entire 17 minutes, now I listened to the whole thing. The same guy in the bright yellow hoodie-like garment that Kyle showed, Kyle didn't show that other video, that same guy outright stating, "We need to show up with guns to finish you guys. It's time for an armed resistance against the United States." So he's not just expressly mentioning ICE agents there. He said, let me get the quote exactly right. "We need to show up with guns to finish you guys. It's time for an armed resistance against the United States of America," unquote. That was his words. This is the guy that Kulinski wants to defend and support, outright, not just defend, but proactively support. I mean, sounds rather insurrectionist to me. What else would you call it? Did Kyle just miss that video where the guy said armed resistance against the United States of America? Or did he just not show that part? I don't know. You'd have to ask Kyle Kulinski, but it seems Kyle is rather diligent in his research and would have very likely come across it. So I showed the video of the guy where he says that, and now, making this presentation. So I don't know whether Kyle intentionally or unintentionally left that out. You have to ask him. I don't like to make accusations without evidence. But either way, Kyle is either wittingly or unwittingly defending a guy, supporting a guy who is clearly advocating war against the United States government. In the part that Kyle showed, we got the impression the guy in the yellow hoodie was only advocating war expressly against ICE, and then you saw the other video, same guy, armed resistance against the United States of America. But anyway, so Kyle says that, or the guy in the yellow hoodie, I think, said something to the effect, they fired the first shot. something like that. The leftist let's get clear about something, okay? This leftist frenzy didn't just start in the last couple of days. We've been seeing this at least since the summer of 2016, and really it went back well before that. That would be well before Trump was even elected or had an opportunity to make any kind of mistake as president anyway. Police cars attacked, police officers attacked, mostly peaceful protesters. One point, I mean, there have been so many things I can't even remember them all. I mean, just trying to make a list. At one point, an entire federal courthouse was taken over by rioters in Portland, Oregon. I don't remember how long it was, quite a while. I mean, just trying to list all the garbage riots we've seen, I would have to come. I don't know how I would do it, okay? But I'm emphasizing this started well before Trump even took office the first time. So much for the claim, they fired the first shot. Did you ever read William Golding's book, 1954, Lord of the Flies? That's what the left reminds us of now. Golding was making several points. One of those points being, and there's also a movie that came out, I'm not sure, maybe about, I'm going to say 1961, give or take. There was also another movie that came out much, much, much later. In my opinion, the first one is the better movie. But if you never saw the movie or read the book, Golding was making several points, okay? And I'm trying to explain, in case you didn't read the book or see the movie. Basically, you have these boys, they're underage boys, probably about, I'm not sure, maybe 12 to 13 years old, maybe a little more, somewhere around there. And about, I'm going to say maybe 20 to 30 boys get stranded on this island, this deserted island. They're the only ones there, okay? And at first they kind of get along for a while, for a short time, and then they fracture. And so you got this group over here that's being reasonable, and this group over here that's not, and this group over here that gets worked up into a frenzy, like some kind of shark frenzy, violent shark frenzy. And it only took one or two to get it started. One boy in particular, he got it all started. And I mean, that's what the left reminds us of now. The left did it with George Floyd. They're doing it now with Renee Good. And that's true regardless of whether that ICE agent acted within his rights or otherwise. We know Floyd, we now know George Floyd had enough fentanyl in him to kill a large polar bear. That was in the medical examiner's report. The autopsy or the medical examination, whatever you call it. And so keep in mind that Golding wrote that book in 1954. Well, quite a while back. That would be 70, or at least that's when it was published, 1954. So that'd be a little more than 70 years ago. This is now 2026. This is only 9 years when he wrote that book. Only 9 years removed from World War II. Because I'm not suggesting. And I want to make this clear, I'm not suggesting the left favors another Holocaust. I'm not going there. But my point is merely that Golding was demonstrating that people can get worked up into a shark frenzy. And that's what we've been seeing that's what I've been seeing for quite some time now. Okay, so in any event, so here's Kulinski. He's saying ICE agents aren't being properly trained. And he says, including using fringe groups such as, and he listed several of them. For example, who did he mean? The 3%ers. Okay, look, I try to be as fair as possible. Okay, if that is true, that's the first I've heard of that. I don't know, maybe it's something to look into. But if that is true, it would be certainly something that needs to be fixed. I'm just wondering regarding that guy in the yellow hoodie. And here is Kyle outright advocating war with ICE and possibly even the United States military. I mean, that's who would be, if you're taking up against the United States of America, as Mr. Yellow Hoodie there put it, that's who you'd be going up against. That would be our first thing there, United States military. So anyway, I mean, so possibly even the United States military, if it's against the United States of America generally, as the guy in the yellow hoodie stated, and I showed you the video just a few seconds ago, a couple of minutes ago. And so Kyle, we heard him, you know, he's questioning how much training the ICE agents are getting and who they are and so forth. So I'm just, it kind of raises some obvious questions though, like exactly how much training. So here's Kyle Kulinski, you know, Kyle's backlashers, Mr. Yellow Hoodie here. And he wants, hey, let's go for it, man. Violence against violence. I'm just raises obvious questions here. So how much training are those people going to get that are going up against, you know, this armed resistance against the United States of America? Seems to me it's a legitimate question. How much training are those people going to get, Kyle? How are you going to keep fringe groups out of that in your armed resistance against the United States of America? What is your plan on ensuring keeping out fringe groups? Precisely what is your vetting procedure in that endeavor? Who is going to do the training when you take up arms against the United States of America? Well, it's a legitimate question. Precisely how is Kyle going to ensure that no ICE agent who is doing his job correctly is going to get hurt, or any other innocent person for that matter? I don't know, maybe me, maybe you. I have no idea. Well, damn. I mean, considering how obviously worked up that guy in the yellow hoodie is, and he isn't the only one, as Kyle acknowledged. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, we would hope this training you have in mind is a lot more than 47 days, Kyle Kulinski. Who's going to fund this training? Are you just planning to just, I don't know, wave a magic wand and figure everyone involved, worked up as Mr. Yellow Hoodie there, is going to act with perfect moral precision every time? I really thought this through. How organized is this insurrectionist effort going to be? Have you considered what your code of conduct for this insurrectionist organization is going to be, Kyle? We would hope you at least have an organization, or you don't even really have a code of conduct. Or are you just planning to throw caution to the wind and say, there's your opposition over there, folks. Go do something. Do whatever. Kyle hasn't even remotely considered any of these questions. I know he hasn't. And he's already advocating his backlash idea. How much training are these backlashers? It's a legitimate question. He wants to question the training of the ICE agents. Fine. How much training are these backlashers that Kyle says would be justified going to get? You know, in the interest of proper use of deadly force, ensuring that innocent people don't get hurt, when you can do a search maybe, I don't know, do you kill just any ICE agent, or do Kyle's backlashers need reasonable expectations of preventing harm before acting, etc.? I'm just wondering, because Kyle, that guy in the yellow hoodie, looked pretty worked up to me. And as Kyle himself stated, he's not the only one. I'm just wondering, maybe Kyle Kulinski wants to think this through a little deeper. It seems it would be a good idea to actually put a lot of thought into this before Kyle's backlashers just go out there and starts blasting people. It's a legitimate point. You want to question the training of ICE agents? Okay, Kyle, well, make sure your people get real good training then. On all of those things, the proper use of deadly force, all of that. Who's going to do the training? For how long? All those questions. A lot of questions there. There's that guy in the movie, it was a comedy zombie movie many years ago. It's a comedy zombie movie, Return of the Living Dead. You got to admit, not a bad question, Bert. You have to see the movie to understand why it's funny. Anyway, just one last point here. So, I mean, just thinking this through, really should thank Kyle here for making the case for a total tax revolt. I'll explain what I mean by that. Everyone from the lowest income up, and including billionaires. It's a legitimate point. If this is how Kyle really feels now about the United States of America, well, why pay taxes to an entity that you loathe so much to the point you are now willing to go to war with it? As the guy in the yellow hoodie said, well, then why would you pay taxes to that same entity? I'm going to take a pretty good bet that the Americans in colonial times weren't real excited about paying taxes to the British government, the very entity they were at war with. They'd be funding the war against them. Well, stop paying the taxes then. If I got a neighbor over here that I think is desiring harm for me, last thing I'm going to do is go out there and buy some 9mm, wrap it up in a box, and hand it to him as a birthday gift. Well, stop paying your taxes then. I bet there's some real hardcore libertarian economics types who would go along with a tax revolt, regardless of what the catalyst rationale it was to get it started, or even if different people are in on the tax revolt with a wide range of motives and rationales. Wealthy people, especially super wealthy people, okay, well, just stop paying your taxes then. Get one of those overseas account thingies if you have to. Seriously. And Mr. Yellow Hoodie there wants war. How did he put it again? Armed resistance against the United States of America. Okay, well, by all means, wealthy people especially, don't pay your taxes then. What for? Perhaps even better, just advocate cutting all tax rates down to zero for a while, including corporate taxes, estate taxes, all of it. Why would you want anyone funding the very entity that you want to go to war with? What for? I mean, who's willing to pay taxes to the very entity you want to go? Yeah, okay, you see my point there. Anyway, stop paying your... I bet I know some real hardcore libertarians. I bet I can find some that are just, and that would go along with Kyle Kulinski on this. Hardcore libertarian types plus the Kyle Kulinskis of the world, unite. Stop paying your taxes. I'm going to leave it there. Okay. So, with that, I'm gonna stop right there. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you so choose. There's that series that I did on investing from 1 through 17 lessons. Put a link to the lesson 1 in the description below. In any event, with all of that in mind, hope life is treating you well. Until next time, you have a great day.